Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Write Scripts, brought to you by Arc Studio, the best screenwriting app in the entire universe. And yes, I've checked the other planets. I'm Mike Acrati, the head of writing at Arc Studio. I am so excited for you to be here. We are going to have a great time together, writing, working on our scripts, talking about screenwriting, talking about writing, answering questions, looking at sandwiches. It's going to be a great day. Before we get into it, I want to know, where are you? What are you writing today? And those are the two standard questions that we start with. And then there's like the writer question here, which is to get the gears going. It's like a little rusty, maybe, your brain's in some other mode, it's your job or school or something in life, and you're just like need to get into writing mode. That's what this question's for. So the question is, what are the basic elements you need for a story? If you're going to write a story, let's say a story for a movie, story for a pilot, a short story, whatever it is, maybe not a short story, a book, maybe a longer story. What are the basic elements you need for a story? So get in the chat. Let me know where you are, what you're going to be working on today during our writing sprints. And also our writer question, what are the basic elements you need for a story? I'll give my answers in just a little bit. So this is Let's Write Scripts. If you're new and you're wondering like exactly what it is that we're going to be doing here today, it's pretty simple. Most of the time will be spent doing timed writing sprints. So I'll put a timer up. I'll be shrunk off to the side and muted, and I'll play some music. And during those timed writing sprints, you just work on your script, whatever you came here to work on. It's unguided prompts. It's whatever you need to work on. It's just sort of a time set aside to write, to make progress on your scripts, with like the support of your community, because we're all kind of doing it at the same time. I'll be working on a script of mine. And yeah, well, that's what we'll be doing. And then during the breaks, we come together, talk about how the sprint went. And I like to answer screenwriting questions. So if you have any questions kind of specifically about your script itself or something you're dealing with or something about screenwriting in general that you want to know, get in the chat. And yeah, you can ask me and we'll talk about that during the breaks. And if you're feeling it, please like this video, hit subscribe, turn notifications on, all that good stuff. I'm starting to make more video content, especially starting next week. There are going to be more kind of videos coming out every week. So yeah, subscribe, turn notifications on from like more kind of educational stuff, craft discussions, things, kind of doing some videos where it's kind of going to be taking examples of movies and like screenwriting lessons we can learn from them and TV shows and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's going to be coming down the pipeline pretty soon, and I'm excited to share that kind of stuff with you guys. All right, so to answer these questions, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm doing some revisions on a feature that I have been working on for such a long time. It's one of those projects. Some projects go, you're just like, boom, you nail them, and they're sort of out the door. And then some things, it's like you're just kind of going layer after layer, and you're kind of like, it's almost like you're carving it out of marble. And sometimes you're like, oh, I have to add marble to it, which is very difficult. And then sometimes you just have to keep carving and carving. And then like finally you see the thing there, but it takes many drafts. So it's one of those scripts that I'm like really happy with how it's turning out. I'm really excited about it, but it's just taking so much work. So it's like kind of this love-hate relationship. Mostly love though. Currently love. It's like a roller coaster. It's like a sinusoidal wave for like the love and the hate. But I think we're like mostly on the love side right now. All right. So then my question to this, and this is a video that's going to be coming out on Monday that I kind of wrote just about, or made. I wrote it, recorded, etc. About basic, like what you need for the story for like a movie. And there are kind of just some elements here that I think are at the core of it. And I would say that you just need like a character who wants something and tries to get it. And those are both important. They need to want something, but they also need to try to get it, because just wanting isn't enough, right? They actually like need to be in action. And there's some sort of underlying reason why they want it, right? There's like a why to what they want. Or there's something they need, maybe. Like there's something they want, but there's something they need. There's like a deeper emotional level behind the thing that they're doing. But there are obstacles in the way causing conflict. They can't get to the thing right away because of obstacles. They'd rather not deal with those obstacles, right? Because like, who wants to deal with obstacles? That's not fun at all. I hate obstacles. They're one of my least favorite things. So you have to have something in your story to force them to deal with those obstacles. And that's where stakes comes in, right? That there are consequences for giving up. So they're trying to get something and they're facing these obstacles, and you don't want them to be like, all right, well, I gave it a shot, and they stop. You have to make them keep going. And that's what stakes comes in, where like it forces them to to keep going, because if they give up, they lose something really important. So that's stakes are like what can be gained if they succeed and what they can lose if they fail. And the gaining part's pretty simple. It's self-explanatory maybe, but losing is also really important because that penalty for giving up makes them keep going. So that forces them to keep going. Things come to a climax, and that's kind of like the biggest obstacle. Sometimes you can think of the climax, like the biggest problem that they're dealing with. And how they deal with that obstacle reveals kind of who they are or who they've become through the process of this story. And in the end, you kind of get to choose what kind of story you're telling by how you end it. Is it happy? Is it bittersweet, semi-sweet? In the video on Monday, you'll see that I kind of go through 4 different possibilities of things that can happen in endings based on what they want versus what they need. So that's kind of just like my little like basic, in a nutshell, version of what you need in a story. Excited to see everyone in the chat. Bobby, welcome, man. Week flew by. Can't believe it's already Wednesday. I mean, yeah, sometimes, I don't know, time has collapsed in on itself. It's fast, it's slow, it's all sorts of things. But yeah, we're back again. Cash, welcome back from Arkansas, writing an original. Fantastic. Teji, working on your novel today. We are open to all creative writers here. Ryan with an E. Writing a short about someone recovering from double jaw surgery, because I am working on realism and naturalism characters. Ooh, well, I'm sorry that you had to go through jaw surgery, but I hope you could channel that and like use what you're feeling to provide some like really juicy, wonderful detail in that. Rosie in the UK almost finished the vomit draft for your new feature. Congrats. Maybe today's the day you finish it. Bobby, basic elements, 3 acts, a protagonist, an antagonist, and a theme that people can relate to. Fantastic things in there. Cash, I'm thinking a bit anything someone thinks of, there's an exception. So I say there's a loose set of things that you need most, if not all. I mean, this is a good caveat, Cash, that you bring up, that like, this is how I think of story and the basic elements. If I was to like boil it down to just the very essentials, I would see it's basically like a character with a goal facing obstacles, which creates conflict. And that's kind of, every story is going to have some version of that. Of course, sometimes the goal isn't like to change things. Sometimes the goal is for things to stay the same, like in Shrek or Big Lebowski, or like certain movies where it's like they just want the status quo to stay the same, but then the world's trying to change it. So there's still tension there. Abigail from London, tried to say joining in London at the same time, and it came out as London. Joining from London, working on a feature, fantastic. Vampi from Britain, converting a book into a screenplay. Basic elements you need for a story to draw the reader in and keep their attention. Yeah, I mean, I think that's how you get them to listen to your story. I think that's more about holding their attention or the quality of the story than maybe the story itself. I think I'm talking a little bit more about like, what is the story? Like what makes something a story. Welcome, Sandra. Welcome, Ryan. Been a minute. Could have sworn Micah was blonde last time I was here. Outside of Seattle, working on a sketch. I say forever. No, I've never been blonde. I have had very dark hair, although now there's starting to be some gray in it because I'm aging. But the gray is more like here, so it's not quite as visible on camera. But no, never been blonde. But glad you're here. Christian from the South, welcome here. Bobby doing the exact really fun creative work. Working on invoices for your accounting job. Hey man, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. Rosie from Cabo, basic writing, beginning, middle, and end. I mean, that's a story boils down to it. It starts, something happens, and then it ends. I love it. Pam from New Mexico, bored with current stories, can play with new ideas. Need a flawed protagonist for stories. Protagonists need conflict. Need heart for depth. Yeah, you don't have. I guess heart isn't a requirement, but like it's certainly a great element to have in your scripts. Barbara, welcome from New Hampshire. Work on a feature. Basics: protagonists want something, and antagonist makes it difficult. Lots of conflict and escalating twists, solutions that shows character evolution. Love that. Yeah, the antagonist is interesting because the antagonist is like a version of obstacle conflict. Like you can have stories without a person kind of causing conflict as an antagonist. For instance, like you could have an entire movie where it's just someone trying to climb a movie by themselves and there's no other person in it. Like it's hard to pull up, but you could do that. And like the mountain itself is causing conflict. And you maybe have something where it's something within the protagonist themselves that they're trying to get through, like it's internal and the external. So generally though, yeah, you're going to have an antagonist or antagonists in a movie. But conflict and obstacles can come from like all sources. Rosie, protagonist goal, conflict resolution. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good do you ever get tired of writing such formulaic scripts? Have you read my scripts? Do you know how formulaic they are? I don't think so. This is about like setting up story and conflict and resolution. That's not a formula. In fact, it's kind of the opposite of a formula. It's just a way of thinking about like your characters and like how you set them on their journey. This is a good question. When you say heart for depth, do you mean like emotional, vulnerable moments? Pamela can speak for her there, but heart for depth, I think you're trying to get at some like emotional truths or something. I mean, like heart can mean a lot of different things, I think. Maybe it's like something sweet. That's kind of like oftentimes a heart is. But like you just sort of, I think that's kind of like getting into like why characters are going after what they want or like what sort of thing they need, that you're trying to get at some like deeper emotional option. Yeah. Carlos, hey, it's possible to find my download like the table read feature isn't an option in Arc Studio for me yet. I'm up to date. Is it actually available? Yeah, it should be in there. It's in the settings. You should be able to turn it on. Yeah, if you can't, you can contact support, but I think you just probably need to turn it on in the settings. Juno, welcome. Denise trying to get words on the page, trying to get back into writing groups. So glad you're here. John in New Jersey. Awesome. So glad to see you here. A couple people, John in Jersey and James in Jersey. Juggling a few projects, probably still searching for a way to master writing multiple projects at a time, mostly comic book scripts, but also a feature. That's tough, James, because I mean, it depends. I think like it's good to have one or two projects oftentimes, but I really feel like people are bad at multitasking. And I don't know. I would be wary about trying to juggle too many, because really like focus is easily destroyed, I like to have like an A project that gets most of my time, and then kind of a second, something like much lower involved. I guess basically what I'm trying to say is like oftentimes you're going to have one project that you're getting like, it's really what you're working on, right? And then the other ones, if you can like make some progress on it, is bonus. I don't know, maybe I'm like speaking for myself too much in the fact that like I tend, when I'm trying to do too many projects, they all kind of become avoidance strategies from each other, and then it's difficult to make progress on any of them. So I mean, you know yourself better than I do, but like it's something to be wary of like choosing one that like it's your main thing, and like kind of your schedule is based around getting that one done, and then you can have kind of the other supporting projects around it. Fantastic. All right, I'm loving it, loving the energy today. I think we're gonna get some great writing done. So yeah, we're gonna do 3 timed writing sprints. The first one is a 15-minute writing sprint, and it is just kind of a warm-up sprint. Like it's really chill. I think that it's really hard sometimes to like just go right into writing, and stuff, like especially when there's a lot going on. So the 15-minute sprint, like let's lower the bar, like it's low pressure. Oftentimes you can read back over what you worked on last time. You can do some free writing to get yourself warmed up, or you're ready to jump in, just do whatever you want. It's yeah. It's just like it's a good way to get in the groove anyways. So let's get into it, right? We're gonna do the 15-minute sprint, and we're gonna come back and chat a little bit. So if you have any screenwriting questions you want to answer, you can drop those in the chat, and we'll talk about those after the break. But I'm gonna play some music. I'm gonna put the timer up, and we're just gonna get into it. I'm so glad you guys are here. All right, ready? 15 minutes on the clock. Let's do some writing. All right, and that brings us to the end of the first writing sprint, the 15-minute writing sprint, the chill warm-up writing sprint. Welcome to everyone who joined us during that writing sprint. This is Let's Write Scripts. I'm Mike Crowdy from Arc Studio, the best screenwriting app for writing your scripts. That's what I'm using, and if you want to check it out, there is a link below in the description. How'd that go? How'd the first writing sprint go? The 15-minute sprint, the warm-up sprint? I want to know, are the muses with us today? Are they blessing our fingers? Are we feeling creative? Or are we struggling? And if so, is there anything particular that you're struggling with? Any questions you have about screenwriting or writing in general, about the process, about the craft? Get in the chat and let me know. If you just joined, this is Let's Write Scripts. We're doing 3 timed writing sprints and chatting about screenwriting in the breaks. We just did the first one, and we're going to do 2 more sprints later. Coming up shortly, actually. Quick announcement. Let's Write Scripts next week. We do this every Wednesday at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Pacific. There is a link to RSVP, or you can just show up on the YouTube channel. I think by now a lot of people just kind of show up on time, and yeah, it's cool if you join a little late, leave a little early, whatever. It's a time for you here, but yeah, love having you. 1 p.m. till about 2:30, 2:45. Sometimes we run a little late if we're having a great time. Welcome to Lucy, a Brazilian in Hungary. So glad you're here. And Paula from Northern Virginia. So glad you're here. Cash asked a good question. I think this was like right before we went into the writing sprint. How can you tell if dialogue is boring? Cash, this is a good question. Never stop asking yourself this question. And look, there's not like a pat answer to this. Like it's subjective. There's a lot of different things on there, but I can give some like pointers maybe. The first thing is, are you bored? Because if you're bored and you wrote it, then it's most likely other people are going to be bored as well. Step 2 on that is like try to get other people to read it and get their reactions to it. But coming down to like what the dialogue is, I mean, you can think about like, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you using it? If you're just exchanging information in the dialogue, if you're just kind of like letting the reader or the audience know things, then it probably is boring. I think really what's helpful is when you kind of get into who the character is and what they're trying to accomplish, but also like what they're feeling in that scene. That's where where the dialogue can sparkle if you kind of tap into those things. And also if you think about like where it can surprise you, because like, our characters, we're not all like completely rational. Like, yeah, characters have goals, they want things, they're trying to do things, but like the way they react to things is not, always like, it's not point A to B to C. Like it doesn't always follow like a logical progression. So finding ways to surprise in the dialogue can also be helpful, but like it's something that it's not like there's one answer to that question. It's something that you can keep coming back to and keep looking at your dialogue and find sort of deeper ways to get at what the intention of the scene is. Like, what is the character trying to do? What are they trying to use their dialogue as? Are they trying to express how they feel? Are they trying to use their dialogue as a tool to accomplish something? Are they trying to use it as a weapon to hurt somebody? Are they trying to just be heard in the like? What are they trying to do, and what are they trying to use their dialogue for? And that's some ways you can find some other shades. Rosie, any tips on building a portfolio to approach an agent with? So, Rosie, I know you're in the UK, so I'm in the US, so I'm not sure exactly the translation of the advice that I'm about to give. It might be a little different. I'm not sure. I would say though, in the US, I would target managers before agents. Generally, they're more willing to work with, let's say, emerging talent or aspiring screenwriters. And it's sort of like there's more levels, they're more approachable. There's more like independent, smaller ones. It's a variety. I will say though, like your representative is trying to find, like they work on a commission basis, right? They make money if their client, if you, the writer, makes money if you sell something. And so if you think about it in that way, it's almost like, what are you offering? What is this script a demonstration of, of your ability? What can the manager sell, so that's kind of a thing to think about. Like, what exactly is it that, like, basically I'm saying, if you have a couple good scripts, that's fine. But like, is that going to make someone be like, oh, get them excited? Like there needs to be something kind of that like is different, or about you, or something like exciting in it. In general though, like, you need one awesome script, and then like you're going to want a second script in case they like, do you have anything else, kind of. It's also worth kind of helping to think about, like, what are you pitching yourself as? Like, who are you as a writer? Like, one thing I struggled with early in my career was I had a manager who sort of pitched me as like, he can write anything. And that isn't actually really like a great thing, way to describe yourself, because it doesn't mean it's like, no one's looking for someone who can write anything. They're like looking for specific things. So like, what are your strengths? What are you bringing to the table as a writer? That writing sprint for people, slow for Barbara, picked up at the end. Yeah, that's kind of how it was for me. It took me a minute to get into this writing sprint. I think it was only the last 2 or 3 minutes I was like really making some progress, or like I was actually like locked into it. So like, slow start today all around, maybe Barbara. Lucy, working on an animation feature, 1.5 page written that sprint. Thank you for this. Oh, that's awesome. So glad you're here. Hope you have a great time and you want to come back. It's a lovely community here. It's really fun. Look forward to it every week. Rosie, it went well. Getting closer to the end. Vampi finished the Alameda script. 10 p.m. for you. Wow. Appreciate you showing up here. Bobby, I think I'll be moving next year. As a 29-year-old, do you think my best network move to get a job in a mailroom or as a PA? Yeah, I mean, your best first job is whatever you can get. My first job in TV was as a writer's PA, but that wasn't my first job in LA. I did a couple of just kind of like random jobs, but I was sort of in an entertainment. I got a job as an assistant, sort of in a related kind of thing, which gave me a little experience. Basically, like, to start off, any way you can get any experience in an office, in a PA setting, in a mailroom, or anything like that, is going to be great, because it's just for that kind of work, they're looking for like basic competency, so if you can just like demonstrate that, like, yes, I have done these kind of things, I'm able to like do tasks and errands and basically it's kind of chores and things like that reliably, then that's a great start. But really, it's like anything you can get your foot in the door. It just kind of depends where you can get your foot in the door and build from there. And then you like start building relationships with people. And it's a long-term thing, right? It's certainly not easy here. John's rereading a script, pleasantly surprised. I love that. I love reading something and you're like, oh, I like this. I'm so happy for you, John. Do you think it's good to write entire character history past so you know what they'd say in different situations? Mustafa, this is a really great question. It's something I've talked about before. I personally don't. I'm not saying you can't do that or you shouldn't do it. I just say that it's not something that I find really helpful. But some writers do. They're really into it. I feel a lot of that work, I think there's a couple dangers in that work. One is that like these sort of backstory kind of things and writing character bios, it can be sort of, it's easier to write those than to actually work on the script in some ways. And it can become a little bit of an avoidance mechanism. And you just sort of like get really into this rich, people end up writing pages and pages and it's just like, okay, that's great. But like, that's not going to be in the script. That is to say, I think it's really helpful to think about what is going to be relevant moving forward, right? So something in their past, in my mind, is relevant if it matters, if it's going to affect them moving forward. So if, you're trying to think about like their circumstances, then yeah, you need to know like what their situation and like sort of what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. But I don't think you need to know like all their details. If that helps you, if that's part of your process, that's fine. Like I don't, there's not a problem with it. I just personally don't find it that helpful. And I also feel like sometimes for me, you kind of get locked into this version. Like when I'm writing first drafts, oftentimes I'm still learning about the characters and who they are and stuff. And so I don't know, you want to leave yourself a little flexibility, I think, personally. Gino, still new to the world of screenwriting, and I find that I write screenplays very much like they're stage plays. Any tips on creative ways to tell stories that you can only do on film? Oh man, Juno, that's a really good question. I mean, look, there's a lot of overlap between obviously stage plays and screenplays and books and short stories and comic books. I mean, like they're all feeding into each other, especially these days. Like so many things are adaptations. So I don't know if I would say only on film. I would say though that there is a, a freedom in scope that is easier in a film than perhaps on a play, than a stage play. And there's also more room for, like, stage plays tend to be very dialogue heavy, in general. And like in movies, you can have a wide variety. You can have movies which are very dialogue heavy and ones that have very little dialogue. And so it's more just like there's different colors kind of that you can paint with a little bit. So in a stage play, yeah, you can have scope for like different places, different things, and also sort of like more nonverbal storytelling. I think you tend to be able to get, just because it's like on a stage play, everything has to be bigger because it has to be like seen by the audience, and you can't do a close up in a play or whatever. So like nonverbal storytelling, I don't know. Those are a few things, but like I don't know. They all overlap. I think. Yeah. All right. So here, self-branding is tough. Rather work on creating stories and on my story. Yeah. I mean, self-branding is tough, and like I hate it. It's like not fun, really. Like the easiest way though, like to self-brand is through your work though. If someone can like read your stuff and be like, oh, they write this thing, that's the easiest way to self-brand. Like your work is more convincing than a description of yourself, right? If you write, I am a this, okay, I don't know, like if that's true or sure, but like if someone reads your work, then they know it. It's like show versus tell, kind of that kind of old thing. So I do agree that your work is the most important part of your brand. What's the best focus for a manager? Skills, genre, something else? I mean, someone really who's excited about your work and you believe can help you. I mean, it's very basic, but I don't think, I mean, one, also you can change managers. Like I had a manager that I kind of had too long and I should have parted ways with, but I had a sense of loyalty and I liked them as a person. It's just, it wasn't really working out, and I don't like conflict. So I sort of avoided it for too long. But my point is, you don't have to be so tactical in the sense of like, oh, they special in this. Like, I mean, some of that's going to happen naturally. If they're excited about your work, they're probably into this kind of stuff that you do, right? Like that makes sense. So it's just finding someone who's excited about your work that you trust. That's a big thing. And that you think can do something with you. And then sometimes like it's only by working with them for a while that you find out how much of that pans out. Because sometimes you get it wrong. And sometimes one of those variables is off or isn't what you think it is. And like, then you part ways. Yeah. All right. Cool. Loving everyone in the chat here. Let's see here. Any suggestions for learning to write audio dramas? Have you done it before? Or was it very different from film? I haven't really done audio dramas, to be honest. I mean, but like the obvious thing is, I mean, I did like some radio stuff kind of back in the day, like in college and stuff, and I enjoyed it. But like there's this idea of the theater of the mind, right? Which is kind of relevant in audio dramas, where in some sense you just have to picture the listener building this universe in their mind, right? And the theater is in their head. So it's giving them kind of what they need for that, right? And that's more just in a mindset or approach. It's not like, I'm certainly like, do this. I think it's just like kind of a way to think about it, is that they are creating the theater in their mind. And what can you use to paint that? Another thing I'll say is that like in audio, you know, there isn't the aid of visuals to know what's going on. So like clarity is really important, I think. Because again, you can't just show them something, right? They have to kind of remember it and keep it in their head. So clarity and simplicity can be, I think, good things sometimes. All right, Bobby, I have no idea what would sell today. It's a crapshoot. I mean, yes or no. I mean, it just depends on like the people who read it and the structure of that organization and all sorts of things. Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's keep writing. I've been talking too much. We're going to move on to the 25-minute writing sprint. We're warmed up. We've been thinking about screenwriting. We've been in our scripts, and let's take the next step. And like, this is the Goldilocks sprint. It's the middle one. We're warmed up, but we're not tired yet. So oftentimes I find this to be the most creatively fulfilling writing sprint. But like, yeah, it's just good. It's just good. We're going to play some more music, put up a 25-minute timer, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about screenwriting, because that's what we're here for. So, all right, here we go. 25 minutes on the clock. That's right. All right, and that is the end of our second writing sprint here today on Let's Write Scripts. Welcome to everyone who joined during that sprint. This is Let's Write Scripts, brought to you by Arc Studio Screenwriting Software. How did that sprint go? Was it the Goldilocks sprints? Was it just right for y'all? Yeah, did the muses show up? Did they abandon you? Let me know how it went. Let me know if you have any questions about maybe something you're dealing with in your writing, or just about screenwriting in general. And yeah, we'll chat about it a little bit. And then I'll show the sandwich of the week in a moment, which if you're new and you're wondering what that is, you'll find out very shortly. A couple of questions here. Charles asked, what is your opinion of AI screenplay analysis tools? It's a good question, Charles. Personally, I am completely uninterested in them. And I say that very specifically, I'm uninterested in them. I'm not saying it's impossible for a writer to find value in them. I don't know. I mean, maybe they could be helpful. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm just saying that I am uninterested in them, in their analysis, and I use analysis for lack of a better term. But I'm uninterested because of what I'm trying to do and what my criteria are for doing it well, which is like I'm writing for people and I want to engage them emotionally. I want them to be thrilled. I want them to be surprised. I want them to be challenged. I want them to be entertained. I want them at times to be horrified. I want them to be amused. I want all these things, but all of these things I want are basically like human reactions. And so, and I want like holding their attention, and basically an AI tool cannot tell me if I've accomplished those, because the only way to know is if like it happened, if a human felt that way or had a response, and an AI can't do that. So that's kind of what I say I'm uninterested in it, because it can't do the thing that I'm interested in doing in my writing. So that's what I would say. Mustafa asked, have you used the Bechdel test? So my friends, it's a great way to know if you're writing a good female character as a man. So if you're unfamiliar with the Bechdel test, it comes from the last name of the woman who came up with it. And I'm a little shaky on the exact details of the origin story. I think it came from like a comic strip that she wrote. But the idea of a Bechdel, of like something passing the Bechdel test, which wasn't actually written as a test, it was something I think she wrote and it sort of became known as the Bechdel test, is that like it's like the bare minimum kind of. It's not like you've done this and now you've written a good females in your movie. It's just sort of like a way of looking at movies, kind of if they're doing the bare minimum. And the idea is that it's two female characters having a conversation with each other about something other than a man. So two female characters having a conversation with each other about something other than a man. And there's a massive amount of movies that just don't have that in it. So I think it's something I keep in mind. And I think it's kind of I don't think it's like a prescriptive in the thing of like, okay, I checked this off just because like I wrote this scene now with these two characters. I think it's a good way of looking at kind of the agency of your female characters and what they're allowed to care about. Because part of the problem with it is that like if you do have women talking, but they're only ever talking about a man, it's like you're limiting the scope of like their agency, what they care about in the world. So it's not like a checkbox kind of thing, but I do think it's a helpful way. So it's a helpful way, not like the only way, but a helpful way to sort of look at your scripts and sort of the agency and scope of possibility, scope of interest for your female character. So it is something I do keep in mind as I'm writing, but it's not like, okay, I wrote this one scene that like satisfies it, so now I'm good because like I can say that my movie passes the Bechdel test. I don't think it should be really used in that way. I don't think that really matters, but I do think, if you're using it to sort of like look and think about your female characters, I think it can be helpful. Rosie, the muses were strong with that sprint. Fantastic. Cash did some dialogue writing. Barbara had a great sprint. Muse is good. Muse is strong, says Juno. Christian lost sound. I think everyone else has sound. Sorry, man. I don't know. Yeah. I love your AI tools answer. Can AI laugh? I cry? I think not yet. Yeah, it's just like you have to think about like what is it doing? I mean, like it's pattern recognition. It's like a probability engine, basically. And so it probably can tell you some things about your script, but I don't know. I guess I'm not. It's not really what I'm interested in. And you're welcome, Charles. Rosie, I don't even try writing two males talking to each other. Just call me Jane Austen. Oh, that's funny. All right. So yeah, feel free to get any other answers in the chat for this last break before we go into our final writing sprint. But here is the sandwich of the week. And this is black sesame with love from me. Yeah, so basically every week, if you're new, I just show the best looking sandwich that I made and ate, because I have a firm commitment to always eat the sandwiches that I present to you. None of this just for the photo thing. These are sandwiches built to be eaten. Yeah, but this, I've been doing ciabatta a lot, so I wanted to mix it up and get this black sesame. I just love just like the black sesame crusting on the crust. I think there's a better way to say that. I love the black sesames on this crust. The only thing I will say is that like when I'm slicing this bread, there are just black sesame seeds just catapulting themselves across the kitchen, just like everywhere. It's like an ant invasion because they're little like the size of ants, kind of like on a glance. So it just seems like ants have attacked the kitchen. Yeah, so I love the bread. Look, yes. Look at the size of things. It was stacked. It was stacked. Bread game on point. I mean, you know, Juno, you know. Scrumptious, delicious. I love it. Oh, how are the birds doing? The hummingbirds. Yeah, so they grew up and flew away. Yeah, so we had a hummingbird nest. I mean, the nest is still there, but it's been abandoned. But there were two hummingbirds that were in there. This is like what they looked like when they were just chicks. The two ones, you can see them curled up in there. And then they grew up, and they actually, I think they both lived, which is rare. My wife's coworker sort of warned that sometimes, because their nests are so small, that sometimes the bigger chick will like push the smaller one out. And for a while, there was kind of one chick in the nest and the other one was like standing on it. And so I actually put this, I don't know, do I have a photo of it in here? I don't, but I like made this like tray thing with like pine needles on it under the nest in case one hummingbird got pushed out, it could land in this and not fall to the ground. Anyways, so the can't get over the flowers woven into the outside. Yeah, so it's actually little, I think this is spider silk, a lot of it too. The inside, which is really cool that they use spider silk. Yeah, so we're all about nests and sandwiches here today. If there are any other bird nests that show up in my backyard, I'll let you go. I also love this good use of the Juno. I don't actually know how old you are, but good use of the Gen Z hashtag aesthetic. I remember my nephew, who was like 16, told me that like our house or something was very aesthetic, and I was like, "But what kind of aesthetic? What do you mean?" And it was just aesthetic. And I'm like, okay, cool. I love it. So I try to say things are aesthetic now so that I can appear young. Because, you know, that's it. And the nest does look like a coconut. You're right. It's kind of got that coconut interior. All right. So we talked a lot during that first break, a lot of really good questions. So it's already 2:20. So I think we're just going to do a 15-minute writing sprint here at the end. Just a reminder, let's write scripts next week as well. The same time, you can RSVP below. Please subscribe and turn notifications on. Like I mentioned, we're going to do more videos. I have one coming next week about writing stories for movies. I have one after that, kind of looking at the midpoint of Parasite and what it kind of shows you about the power of what midpoints can do in a script and kind of how to think about them. And yeah, there's gonna be one just kind of like more stuff like that coming forward, which I'm kind of enjoying making, and hopefully y'all enjoy it. All right, so yeah, if you have to leave during the sprint, thank you so much for joining. Please say farewell. I love seeing a farewell, letting me know how your writing went today. And yeah, and if not, you stick around till the end. We'll say your final farewells, and I hope to see you again next week and the week after that, because, you know, we're doing this through summer and to infinity. Well, not to infinity, but the foreseeable future. So I think that's it. Yeah, we're gonna play some music and do a little more writing here. Close out strong. 15 minutes on the clock. I think we should just get into it. Here we go. And that brings us to the end of Let's Write Scripts for for Wednesday, June 11th, brought to you by Arc Studio, the best screenwriting app in the world, I think. I want to thank everyone for joining. This was great. I got a lot of great writing done. It was awesome talk with you guys. How about screenwriting? Yeah, thanks for your energy. Thanks for asking questions and participating. And I hope you got, a lot of writing done and had a great time. And if you were new, I hope you come again next week or the week after that, whatever, or every week from now on until eternity. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Until next time, please be kind to yourselves and happy writing. And I hope to see you all again soon. All right. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Peace.